another episode of Strategic Minds Making Money Moves, where we provide those strategies to get that green. I am so excited today to have Ms. Calandra Tibbs with me, and we're going to learn a lot about how to work with nonprofits. What are the things you need to look for in order to make that a successful cash flow? Welcome, Calandra.
Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. Will you please share with our audience about your business?
Hi, I'm Calandra Tibbs. I'm a nonprofit strategist and CEO of Trifecta Advising, LLC. Trifecta Advising, we support nonprofit organizations, small, mid-size, even some large, in helping them come up with strategies that are going to basically help their businesses be set up for success. A lot of times nonprofits don't think about it as a business, but it is. So there are components of it that make it work. There are components of it that you need for other people to work for you. So that's what Trifecta Advising does.
That's awesome. And it sounds like you got a great business. And we all know that there's opportunities in the nonprofit sector,
Always.
as we all need to be able to grow the nonprofit so that they can help others within the industry and whatever their mission may be about. So that's great to know. Please share with our audience what the strategy is you'd like to discuss today.
So today I want to talk about, I've gone through my networks, and people that know me and want me to do things for their businesses, their nonprofits, and call me. But I want to expand that. I want to expand the work that I do, who I'm working with, the types of nonprofits I work with. So my challenge is explaining the value proposition of the work I do as a strategist to these new nonprofits.
I understand that. And, it's always great when you have friends that you can work with, because one of the things you can do is always get that reference, right? Whether it's a video reference, whether it's, something written, but something that talks about that value, and then leverage it within your marketing. But when we begin to think about nonprofits, I think one of the first questions I ask anyone from a strategic perspective, as you are providing and helping them, what missions of nonprofits matter to you? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. I really like working with those organizations that help people, direct support to people that are in need. So whether it's women's health, I've spent nearly 20 years as a public health executive and public health administrator. And so I like the work that helps people directly. So women's health, maternal and child health issues. But I've also worked with groups that do environmental health. So expanding, so thinking about the broader population, but those that directly touch the lives of people, help support them, help them get the services and support they need. I have a passion for that work.
That's great, because one of the things that I think we have to do as we're working with nonprofits, and I think this is why sales take a little longer in the nonprofit sector, is first we need to be able to follow them, right? Follow them on social media, follow them on, events and what they're planning, et cetera. And then decide strategically which ones we want to attend, whether it's in person or virtual, but to be able to understand more about their mission and to relate to them. Because nonprofits, as we all know, are not there to make money. Correct. They're there to provide a service. Correct. And what they first want to know is that you believe in their mission. And I think the things that we can do when we are expanding out to other industries is to really be able to go and show, I'm coming to your event because I support your mission. I support what you're doing. As a business owner, when you're doing to your 501c3s and you're sponsoring and giving money, you sponsor to those nonprofits that you eventually want to get business from. Because what you're telling them is, I believe in you enough to put my money where my mouth is, right, in terms of what you're doing. And therefore, I'm looking for an opportunity as well to be able to expand and help you. Yep. I know that it's that as you are trying to go for mission-based nonprofits and put that strategy together. The other thing that I'd like to ask you is, in your business, is that do you have a target list of those nonprofits you want to go to? Or are you strictly saying, I just want to add anybody to the mix?
I think that's one of the things that, I want to think about. Like, what is that target list look like? How big should it be? Where do I start? Thinking about as I want to reach out to that list. But no, I haven't developed a list yet. But, coming here thinking about what should that list look like?
Well, as we were saying before, I think the way you begin that list is you talked about you want to do organizations that help people in health. So what does that really mean to you? Doing the research to understand those different types of nonprofits and organizations. And also remember, you might have a nonprofit that may not be, let's say you wanted to get in health, that aren't about health,
Right.
but they have a health program.
Hmm.
That becomes important because now you have an alignment. They have a health initiative, a health program to move forward. They're looking at how can I do health? I know there are a number of even organizations that sponsor technology, but one of the programs they offer is in health because we're talking about the technology of health, right? And how it plays a role. We're going to take a station break, and when we come back, I have a few more things I'd love to be able to share with you. We'll be right back.
Strategic Minds, Making Money Moves with Vicki Wright Hamilton focuses on helping entrepreneurs to overcome their business challenges to help increase their bottom line. Each episode provides strategies for growth and transformation. Watch Vicki share her 20-plus years of experience as a corporate executive to help entrepreneurs level up.
When I was in college, I had a college professor to tell me I would never, ever make it in technology. He told me that I needed to change my career, all because I took a test and got a D after studying so very hard. I knew at that point that I had to learn the game of life and survival. How did I do that? I really put on my game face so that they never knew what to expect, when, where, or how. See, life has all of its journeys and obstacles. We all have a story to tell, and we have many different paths that we take. My journey to this moment has not been easy. You have to play the game, play to win, and you win by wearing your game face. Welcome back. So as we were talking before the break and we were talking about, making that strategic list, I think that it's really important to start with your research. And when you start with your research, start with your passion. Passion comes across like a magnet. When you go to a nonprofit and you're talking about what you're doing and you're talking about what they're doing, that passion is like, it's like a virus. It's like, oh my gosh, I love what you all are doing. And this is what I'm thinking. And these are the kinds of things I can help you with. So now how do we take that and make a value add out of it, right? So in the services that you provide, I think you made a statement, which I wholeheartedly agree with, is that a nonprofit is a business. Now, there are 4 primary areas that every business cares about in one level or another. One is their financial state. Where do we stand with our numbers, with our debits and our credits and revenue and expenses and all that? Number 2, their staff. What does it mean about their staff? How are they organized? How are they able to have productivity in terms of move forward? Number 3, what processes are they using? And are those processes streamlined or not? And what does that look like? And number 4, where in terms of their stakeholders, which is all the people who are going to give, the people that are contributing, what do they want? What do they want to see? Every time you go in to talk about value add, talk about this program maps to this. And the biggest thing you can do is save time.
Yep.
Save time. And when you begin to talk their language about saving time, getting more volunteers, partnering with others, closing gaps, getting staff to do more, aligning the staff with where you really want to go as a nonprofit, then all of a sudden, okay, you're going to take care of a problem for me, right? And I think some of the ways that we find some of those ideas is we all know there's lots of articles out there about companies. There's lots of, information that may be out in organizations, where companies contribute and things like that. Think about when you're going through those. I got an alignment here. You're having a challenge with getting more people to contribute. How can I help you with that challenge of contribution? That contribution goes directly to your revenue to be able to give back. Okay. So if I'm thinking about contributions and revenue, and I'm saying to you, and I walk up to you and say, hi, my name is Calandra, and I am a nonprofit strategist, and I can help you grow your company by 10% in contributions in 6 months. That's a very definitive thing. That's something they can relate to. So it's important that with the people that you've already had, I encourage you to get statistics. Get value add statements from them that another nonprofit would appreciate. Because those value add statements, they're going to say, oh, wait a minute, she helped this nonprofit. And you don't have to name names. Right. I worked with a top 500 nonprofit, national, blah, 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 and I grew their business 20%, whatever. So you don't have to necessarily name names, but what you're doing is you're showing a value proposition up front that says, I understand your needs. I understand what you want. Now, do you offer any programs through your strategy where you also help staff members in terms of working for a nonprofit to understand really what a nonprofit is about and growth and how to make that happen?
Yeah, in my role as the fractional COO for some of the nonprofits, what I try to do is work with, if they have an HR team, many of them don't, but identify what training and support those nonprofits need. It's one thing to be able to hire on staff from wherever you're located, but to have them believe in your mission or the organization mission the way the board does, the CEO does, is very challenging. So working with them to identify what training support is needed and then getting that support, whether it's provided by me or I outsource it to one of my partners. So we look at it in different ways. I think another area where we're supporting the staff is on the actual program development. So how do they develop their programs? Because you're talking about statistics, we got to think about, well, does your program have measurement? Can your program speak to the audiences and tell the story of how you're helping your constituents? And so working with them in both of those ways, help them both on having a dedicated and loyal employee, but also having programs that the employees are implementing, they believe in, and their customers, their clients and constituents and donors, most importantly, believe in.
So with that in mind, as you are, I think that's phenomenal in terms of the breadth of the opportunities of what you offer, I think, in terms of helping the employees. You mentioned if they have an HR department. What happens if they don't? How do you handle that?
You know what? As a CEO, fractional COO for these nonprofits, what I'm able to do is identify where there's gaps. So if they don't have an HR department, identifying a company that can provide that service for them. If they don't have an accountant, I'm not an accountant, but I can help you. What's the right fit for you? A lot of times making those decisions, saving time. It takes a lot of time to go through interviewing and doing all that. So what Trifecta Advising does is we take that burden off of them and then provide them with who we think who would best serve their nonprofit.
So what you're saying to me is you have a story. Mm-hmm. And my story is that for the gaps that are within your process, your organization, whether it be for people that are contributing, that are donors, whether it be someone in the staff or otherwise, I help you plug that gap to give you the value add of more money, revenue, which comes from our donors, efficiency, which comes from our employees, and the ability for you to take your organization to the next level, which comes from those strategies that you're actually using. Yeah. So telling the story, we've got to get to a point where, and this is what's hard, right? We think about selling things and we think about it's just a product or a service. We're going to take a station break, and when we come back, I'll give a few more tips, and then we'll see if we have a question from the audience. We'll be right back.
Strategic Minds, Making Money Moves with Vicki Wright Hamilton focuses on helping entrepreneurs to overcome their business challenges to help increase their bottom line. Each episode provides strategies for growth and transformation. Watch Vicki share her 20-plus years of experience as a corporate executive to help entrepreneurs level up.
When I was in college, I had a college professor to tell me I would never, ever make it in technology. He told me that I needed to change my career, all because I took a test and got a D after studying so very hard. I knew at that point that I had to learn the game of life and survival. How did I do that? I really put on my game face so that they never knew what to expect, when, where, or how. See, life has all of its journeys and obstacles. We all have a story to tell, and we have many different paths that we take. My journey to this moment has not been easy. You have to play the game, play to win, and you win by wearing your game face. Welcome back. We were talking before, about telling that story. What does that story really mean? And that's the hardest part. People think I go and I sell a product because of what it does. But when you're selling services, the story is a little bit different. Because I can't say, go watch that product. You have to believe in me to get that service to see those results, which is why I encourage you to go and get the facts from people that you've worked with previously, because you can use that in your storytelling to be able to show that value. The other thing is that I truly believe in a portfolio mix. And what do I mean by that? All the different kinds of nonprofits you've worked with, put them in percentages. I've worked with 20% nonprofits that are national. I've worked with 50% nonprofits that are privately held. I've worked with 30% nonprofits that are medium sized, right? Underneath certain amount of revenue, right? So I have experience across all of them, right? And through that experience, I've been able to deliver the value of A, B, C, and D. So now I've told you what my experience level is. I've told you what my results are. And the thing that you're saying to them in that story is just what you said. It's all about, can you tell the story to your constituents, what your measures are, your metrics, and what that looks like, and why they should want to believe in you, and what that means? Lastly, is when you start to pull on people, we all know that nonprofits are about emotion. Think about it. You contribute to places where it draws on your emotion. It draws on something you believe in, either something happened, something happened to somebody close to you, you've experienced something, but it's your emotions. And half of the battle of getting people to contribute is to draw on those emotions. So taking stories of things that have happened to people that tie to their mission and telling that story can be powerful. For example, when you're talking to someone and they may be a nonprofit that is into helping single mothers, right, to get employment. And there may have been someone very pertinent, right, that was well known, because every nonprofit tries to find a star or somebody they can relate to, right? So they were a single mother. And here's what we were able to do to help them, right, in terms of moving up. Here are the things we were able to contribute. Use that emotion of people that are connected, because now you have not only others that are part of that nonprofit contributing, but you have others that had a story and you're now relating to their story. So you use that to help you boost your own. Help it to boost your own. So then you can now expand. When you market, you use your marketing strategy that way. I think it's really important that you get a marketing strategist. It's going to be important that you do that. And as you're sitting down talking about strategy and what that looks like, and talking about, okay, I've done my homework, here are the kind of nonprofits I want, this is my audience. And the stories that come to that audience look like this. I have a nephew that had leukemia. And so it means a lot to me to go to support leukemia. Now, before he had leukemia, I cared, but not like I care now, because I have a personal story there. So being able to relate my own personal experience as we continue to talk about this and talk about pulling people in, we can talk about why it means so much. What emotions did I go through when he had leukemia? What were the challenges that I went through, and how did I overcome them? So I hope that will give you a little bit of sound bites in terms of trying to put those together. Yeah. But I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and I wish you nothing but luck as we continue to move forward.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
see if we have a question from the audience.
Hi, I'm Chichi Okezi, owner and producer of Simple Networking, a consulting firm based in Metro Atlanta, Georgia. And I do have a question for Ms. Tibbs. Continued success with all of your amazing work with nonprofits, but I would love to hear a success story that you had with nonprofits.
I think one of my success stories I'll point to is from last year. Working with nonprofits, sometimes, they're looking for funding in a lot of different places. And when you don't have experience from getting money or funding or resources in certain spaces, it can be intimidating. So I was able to support a nonprofit in response to federal funding for a 5-year opportunity. They had not received it before. And actually helped 2 nonprofits do that. But in this one, the challenge was they wanted more funds than were available. So how do you negotiate that in writing for a grant, right? People tell you never to write more than what they offer. But this nonprofit was able to successfully not only get the grant, but got the funding that they needed to implement the programs that made the impact for their community. So really proud of that, being able to be a part of that team.
So see what happens? We have great business owners out here that are always trying to get that strategy and move it to the next level. I want to thank Calandra for joining us today. And I want to say, remember, Strategic Minds Making Money Moves is where we provide those strategies to get that green. We hope to see you on the next episode.